Let us start the 31st session of Secrets of Spirituality. In the last session, I had shown you the slide where there is a great sentence told by Deepak Chopra. Religion is believing in someone else's experience, and spirituality is believing in one's own experience. I should tell you today about one great guru and one great shishya who were there as part of the Sringeri Hermitage. The present pontiff is Sri Bharati Tirtha Swamiji. His guru was Sri Abhinava Vidyatirtha Swami, and Abhinava Vidyatirtha's guru was Sri Chandrasekhara Bharati Swamiji. And Chandrasekhara Bharati had taught one particular meditation called Bhujaga Bhushana Dhyana to his disciple Abhinava Vidyatirtha. Those who have gone to Sringeri, you are familiar with the place. You already know that on this side of the river Tunga, there is the Sharadamba temple, and the other side of the river Tunga, there is a hermitage which is called as Narasimhavanam. Now it is a well-developed place, well-developed in the sense there are a lot of buildings and a lot of other modern facilities. But at the time of Chandrasekhara Bharati, it was a small hermitage where the guru and his disciples used to stay, a very secluded life. So Chandrasekhara Bharati had taught one particular type of meditation called Bhujaga Bhushana Dhyana. Bhujaga means serpent. Bhujaga Bhushana means the one who is wearing serpent. Nothing but Shiva. So a meditation on the form of Shiva was taught by the guru to the shishya. And as there was enough place to wander around the Narasimhavanam, one day the disciple Abhinava Vidyatirtha went a little far away from the hermitage and he sat on a particular hilltop, which was a forest area. It was slightly a remote area, but it was a very peaceful area. So he sat there and he started meditating on the form of Lord Shiva, visualizing Bhujaga Bhushana. Bhujaga Bhushana means the one who is wearing the serpent. And Abhinava Vidyatirtha was too much deep-rooted into the meditation, and after some time, he almost went into the state of Savikalpa Samadhi. And much time had passed away, and after some time, when Abhinava Vidyatirtha regained consciousness, he felt as if in his neck there is something cool. And gradually he opened his eyes and he really felt on his neck there is something really very cool and it is moving. And gradually he kept on watching what is going to happen, and slowly the serpent which was around his neck slowly moved down and it moved away. But he was not afraid because he was almost into Savikalpa Samadhi, where he had gone beyond the bodily consciousness, and later on he regained his senses, and that is when he felt this. Now he thought, what a great meditation I had. I actually meditated on the form of Lord Shiva as Bhujaga Bhushana, and today I really had that great experience of Bhujaga Bhushana. And then he slowly moved out of that particular place and started walking towards the hermitage. When he was nearing the hermitage, in front of the hermitage door, his guru Chandrasekhara Bharati was standing, and Chandrasekhara Bharati was smiling at his disciple. Now, when the student went nearby to his guru, Chandrasekhara Bharati smiled at him and he told him that today you had Bhujaga Bhoshana Dhyana practice and Bhujaga actually came there, right? The disciple was wondering how come my teacher came to know about my experience. And later on, the disciple touched his guru's feet. And Abhinav Vidyatirtha asked Chandrasekhara Bharati, how did you come to know that I had a Bhujaga Bhoshana Dhyana? And Bhujaga really came there. The serpent really came there. Now the Guru told, do you think I am separate from my disciples? When I give initiation to you, I am always with you. Even if you go away, I am always with you. I am connected to you. And then politely Abhinav Vidyatirtha asked his teacher, how is it that I meditated on form of Shiva, and how come that serpent came on top of my neck, and how it gradually went away later on? Then Guru told, as you were meditating on the form of Bhujaga Bhoshana, the serpent must have been there around somewhere, and subconsciously it was attracted towards you because your aura had expanded around, and when your intention or your visualization was expansive, gradually the same attraction or the same programming of the mind had happened with this particular creature, and subconsciously without its own knowledge it was attracted towards you. But as your body was almost in Savikalpa Samadhi, you did not experience it climbing around your body and it staying there around your neck. It was you who programmed that particular reptile. And when you regained bodily consciousness, gradually that creature also regained its own consciousness. Then it became aware of itself and gradually thought that it is in the wrong place, so it gradually went down. Actually, it did not harm you because it did not think that you are harmful at all that way. It did not understand what was happening. But I was here and I was connected to you. I was understanding whatever was happening. My dear listeners, this is a true story just a few years before, which happened in the life of Abhinav Vidyatirtha, and he had a great spiritual master called Chandrasekhara Bharati. And this is an experience which Abhinav Vidyatirtha himself had. That is where I reiterate the sentence which I had shown you in the last session, that religion is believing in someone else's experience, spirituality is believing in one's own experience. But of course, some of you may be afraid that if you go and sit in a forest and if you start meditating, you may also attract such creatures that way. But as such, it is not the creatures that are dangerous. It is the human selfishness or human cunningness that is more dangerous than any other creatures that way. Me and you may not be having such experiences there because we may not be meditating that way, in the way in which Abhinav Vidyatirtha meditated, or his spiritual master Chandrasekhara Bharati also would have meditated earlier. But meditation becomes necessary for spiritual realization. In one way or the other, each one of you have to have a spiritual experience apart from the physical or bodily experiences or mental or thoughtful experiences. You should really have spiritual experiences so as to understand the essence of spirituality. Otherwise, again, people will be lost in religious faiths, or else people will be lost in scientific faiths. In fact, science is on one side, religion is on other side. Both have to be together so as to be on the side of the spirituality. Now coming to today's slide, the Purusha, not larger than a thumb, the inner self, always dwells in the hearts of men. Let a man separate him from his body with steadiness, as one separates the tender stalk from a blade of grass. Let him know that self as the bright, as the immortal, as the bright, as the immortal, told in the Kathopanishad. Angustamatra Purushontaratma is told in the Kathopanishad. In the same Upanishad it is told, Anoraniyan Mahato Mahiyan Atmasya Janto Nihito Guhayam. So the Purusha, not larger than a thumb, what does it indicate? Especially during the practice of Kundalini Yoga, when the energy gradually rises up from Mooladhara, in the middle of the body, it assumes a cylindrical shape. At the Mooladhara, it is of the shape of a bulb, expansive shape. Whereas gradually when it rises up, it assumes the form of a cylindrical shape. And gradually when it rises up to the Sahasrara, it blooms out in the shape of a flower, lotus flower. I think I have told you already about this, called as Kanda Pradesha, Linga Pradesha and Padma Pradesha. Now here in the Kathopanishad, the sage says, the Purusha not larger than a thumb, the inner self. So what does it mean? People who are having their bodily consciousness below Manipura Chakra, that means at Mooladhara and at Swadhisthana, they will always have the feeling of me and mine, me and mine. That way, they are as good as animals. Only when the energy rises up above Manipura, then to Anahata, then to Vishuddha, then to Ajna, then to Sahasrara, only then gradually humans will turn into divine ones. So the Purusha, not larger than a thumb, the inner self, always dwells in the hearts of men. That is what is indicated there. That when the energy rises up to the Anahata Chakra, gradually it is so subtle. The self is smaller than the smallest. The self is also bigger than the biggest. Here in the Kathopanishad, he is mentioned as smaller than the smallest. In the same Kathopanishad, it is also mentioned as bigger than the biggest. Anoho Aniyam Mahataha Mahiyam. Let a man separate him from his body with steadiness, as one separates the tender stalk from a blade of grass. Now remember the incident which I mentioned about Abhinava Vidyatirtha. He had separated himself from the body at that time when serpent came around his neck. He was not aware of the serpent climbing his body at all. You will have to read that particular book, which I have already mentioned in our website. It is the life story of Abhinava Vidyatirtha, titled as Yoga, Enlightenment and Realization. So, me and you may not have such experiences. Okay, each one's experiences may be different because it depends on our own previous culture. Maybe this life's culture, maybe previous life's culture. But ultimately, all of us have to have some spiritual experiences. Otherwise, we are always dependent on someone else's experiences. So let a man separate him from his body with steadiness, as one separates the tender stalk from a blade of grass. Let him know that self as the bright, as the immortal, as the bright, as the immortal. Let me continue. Knowing others is wisdom. Knowing yourself is enlightenment. Told by Lao Tzu. You have to read that particular very small book called Tao Te Ching. Even though it is very small book, it is a collection of so many such mystical statements told by Lao Tzu himself. Knowing others is wisdom. Knowing yourself is enlightenment. Everyone always feels that he has understood himself or she has understood herself. And they always think that they will have to understand others. And sometimes they think that they have understood others also. They have understood themselves also. They are so wrong. They are so wrong. There is no point in trying to understand others at all, because others may keep changing over a period of time. And we don't know about others at all as such. As we don't know much about ourselves, how can we know much about others also? Each one's life is each one's journey itself. Each one's life is each one's learning itself. Each one's life is each one's experience itself. Maybe physical experience, maybe psychological experience, maybe spiritual experience. So how can we think that we will be knowing others always? So Lao Tzu has rightly told, knowing others is wisdom, knowing yourself is enlightenment. Let me tell you one more story. King Janaka had a dream. In the dream, he saw himself as a beggar. And this beggar was very hungry. And the beggar was standing in a line. He was the last in that particular line. And people were serving food there. And wherever people are serving food, this line was established. And this beggar was thinking, when my turn will come, I am so hungry, when will I receive the food? Slowly the line was moving, and gradually the beggar's turn came. But the beggar is looking at the vessel where the food was being served. Only a little amount of food was there in that particular vessel. Somehow the server took out that small portion of the food, and as the beggar was the last in the queue, anyhow it was the last portion of the food that was left. He put that particular amount of food into the beggar's plate. And the beggar thought, at least, finally I got at least this much amount of food. Suddenly from nowhere, one eagle came, and the eagle suddenly picked up the plate of the beggar, and the eagle flew away. When the eagle flew away, beggar started crying heavily. I am so hungry. That was the last morsel of food available for me. And I was about to consume my food. Look at my fate. Suddenly that eagle came and snatched away my food. And the beggar was crying. And he was sobbing. Suddenly Janaka woke up. When King Janaka suddenly woke up, he was still shivering out of that sadness or agony. He was still feeling that he was the beggar in the dream. But Janaka was under a great confusion now. That am I a king? Am I a beggar? Am I a king? Am I a beggar? He woke up, he went to take bath, he came out of the bathroom, he was having breakfast. Throughout he was thinking, was that real? Is this real? Because he was still trembling with the fear that eagle came and took away my food. I was a beggar standing in the queue. He was still trembling and still he was in agony, thinking, was that real? Is this real? He kept on murmuring to himself, was that real? Is this real? Then gradually he went to his court. In the court, he met his ministers and he asked his prime minister that, am I the king or am I the beggar? Now the minister told, my dear king, you know that you are the king. You are seeing this court. You are seeing all your citizens around. You are seeing all your people around. This is real. You are the king. Still king told, no, I am still shivering, thinking about the scene which I saw, that the eagle snatched away my food and I was standing there as a beggar. Now how am I sure that this is real? That would have been real. This may be a dream. Whether this is a dream or that was a dream, how am I sure? The minister told, king, pinch yourself. When you pinch yourself, when you feel the pain, you can understand that this is reality. King said, even if I pinch myself in the dream also, there also I will feel the pain. Now you are saying that I have to pinch myself here. I will feel the pain. Then this is reality. Even when I was a beggar in the dream also, if I could pinch myself, there also I would feel the pain. How am I sure that this is real and that is dream? I still feel that that must have been real. This must be a dream. The pain of the reality I must have taken to this particular dream where I think I am a king. Minister kept on counseling the king. Still the king was not having a consolation. And then finally minister told, my dear king, take rest today. Go and have a nice sleep. Tomorrow morning you will be all right. King went back to his palace. He took rest at night. Next day morning he came back. He was the same Janaka. He was still having that particular agony. He was still not sure whether that was real or is this real. And he kept on asking this question. Minister thought that king has become slightly unhealthy, maybe mentally unhealthy. The king called for the doctor, king's doctor. In Sanskrita we call it as Rajavaidya. The king called for the therapist or the doctor. Now the doctor came. Doctor checked the pulse of the king. Everything was all right. In Ayurveda, they go for a Nadi Pariksha, which is a much more advanced form of normal pulse checking, which the allopathic doctors do. So the doctor told that the king's physical health is completely all right. There is no problem at all. And the doctor kept on counseling to the king that, my dear king, you have been ruling our kingdom. You know that this is reality. You will have to accept that this is reality and you only had a dream. Still, King Janaka is asking, why still my shivering is not going? Why still my pain is not going? Why still my agony is not going? If that was simply a dream, why that particular dream is bothering me this much? Why am I continuously recalling my experience of the dream if that was the dream? And next day also King Janaka was in the same state of affairs. And the minister thought, even the medical treatment is not working, even the counseling is not working. He did not know what to do. Finally, minister thought, we should consult somebody who is much more knowledgeable than all of us. we should consult a spiritual master himself. So finally, minister went to a great realized spiritual master called Ashtavakra, and the minister requested him to come all the way to meet Janaka and somehow perform a therapy. Ashtavakra agreed, and Ashtavakra came to king's court. When Ashtavakra came to king's court, the king Janaka again asked the same question even to Ashtavakra. King Janaka told all his experiences, and he said, since many days I have been having this agony within me, and I am neither able to live in the awakened state nor able to live in the dreaming state. Both are bothering me. That particular dreams experience is bothering me in this particular state. And here all the people say that this is the awakened state and this is the reality. Whereas even in this awakened state where they say as reality, why that particular experience is bothering me here? Whether that is reality or this is reality, whether that is a myth or this is a myth, is that real or is this real? I am under a great dilemma. Am I a beggar or am I a king? I am under a great dilemma. Ashtavakra told, my dear Janaka, that is also not real. This is also not real. Your dream is also not real. Your awakened state is also not real. You are neither a king nor a beggar. Suddenly, Janaka had a peaceful experience. Suddenly, for a moment, Janaka's agony got pacified. Now, Janaka asked the explanation from the Ashtavakra. How is that possible that neither that is real nor this is real? Ashtavakra told, both are illusory, both are transitory. When you are in the awakened state, you are connected with the body, you are connected with your sense organs, and then you feel you are the king. You are the one who is ruling this particular land. And you feel you have all these citizens and ministers. That is in the awakened state. But this awakened state is again temporary, again transitory. It is not going to be permanent. Then, from the awakened state, you go into a dreaming state. In the dreaming state, you are identifying yourself with your own thoughts, with your own memory, with your own imaginations, with your own pains and pleasures. So there, you are connected with your mental apparatus. In the awakened state, you are connected with your physical apparatus. Whatever you call as the dreaming state, there you are connected with your mental apparatus. But that is also illusory, that is also transitory, that is also not going to be a permanent state. Now, in both of these states, you have this particular ego, and through the ego, you are having a bodily experience, you are having a mental experience. Now, because of that dream where you thought you are a beggar, where you had an experience of a beggar, you are unable to accept the fact that how can a king become a beggar even in the dream? You had a lot hurting of your ego in the dream. Of course, that dream was not your own desire. Because the dream was not your own desire, it came out of some internal imagination, or it came out of some internal arrangement of memory. Now, you are not able to accept the fact that king can become a beggar even in the dream. Where a king could serve a lot of food to the people in the palace, how can king stand in a queue as a beggar? That was what was hurting you. Your ego itself was hurting you. So, you are unable to accept the fact. Because of that, You are under continuous dilemma whether that was real or whether this is real. Am I the king or am I the beggar? But you are neither. You are neither the king nor the beggar. In the awakened state, you are considered as the king by yourself and by the others. In the dreaming state, you considered yourself as a beggar, but you did not accept it. But both are illusory, both are transitory, both are the play of ego along with the memory. Now, when you go into the deep sleeping state, you are not there, right? Are you not there? Or is your ego not there? Your ego is not there. Your memory is dormant. Your intellect is not there. Your thoughts are not there. Your mind itself is not there in the deep sleeping state. Whatever you call as the deep sleeping state, that is the state where there is no time. There is no movement of energy. There is no any activity. There are no thoughts. Now that is the state of the self, which is pure, which is still, which is divine, which is timeless, which is eternal. That is the truth. Now from that state of truth, gradually when you wake up tomorrow morning, again you will get connected yourself with the body. Then you think you are the king. Again when you go to sleep, when you go into the dreaming state, again you will have some other dreams, maybe horrific dreams, maybe happy dreams. You will have both types, but all of them are transitory once again. Awakened state is also transitory. Dreaming state is also transitory. One day body is also going to perish. One day mind is also going to perish. Whatever came into existence is gradually going to perish. And whatever made them to come into existence, that is eternal. Whatever caused the play of energies, whatever caused the combination of matters, that is how mind came into existence, that is how body came into existence. And the one which is causing all these combinations, that is beyond all these combinations, and that is the self, and that is eternal. You are that self. That is why I have told that neither that is real nor this is real. Now Janaka asked Ashtavakra, if neither that is real nor this is real, now what am I supposed to do? How am I supposed to continue? Ashtavakra told, continue as if nothing is yours, but keep on working as if everything is yours. You will have to continue to rule this kingdom as if nothing is yours. Live the life of a karma yogi. Keep on performing your duties, your responsibilities, as if you are not the king. Continue your work as if nothing is yours, but perform all that work as if everything is yours. When you continue your duties, now don't get into the dilemma that as nothing is belonging to you, you can be careless also in performing your duties. Don't do that way. You will have to perform your duties as if everything is yours. Live like a karma yogi. And Ashtavakra went away. Later on, King Janaka lived a life of karma yogi. So knowing others is wisdom, knowing yourself is enlightenment. In whichever way the self-realization is possible, whether it is through yoga, or is it through Vedanta, or is it through a teacher's advices, or is it through a student's studies, in whichever way, unless a person is realized about the self, the person is again attached to either the body or the mind, and the law of karma will continue. Absence of evidence is not the evidence for absence. Now, when I told the story of Janaka and Ashtavakra, again, the people who are attaching themselves with the body and the mind, they'll again think there is nothing called self. How can there be? Dream is real, awakened state is real, sleep is unreal. People may argue that way. Because in the sleeping state, there is nothing there, no activity there. When there is no activity there, when nothing is there in the sleeping state, how can it be real? The point is, in the sleeping state, we cannot say there is nothing. There is that thing which is causing awakening and dreaming. In the sleeping state, whatever is there, that is the one which is causing the awakened state in the next day morning. That is the one which is causing the beating of your heart, the breathing which is happening in the lungs. Otherwise, who started this physiological activity and who is going to stop this particular physiological activity? When the child came out of the mother's womb, how breathing started and beating of the heart started. And when a person has a physical death, who stops this beating of the heart or who stops this breathing activity? If you say it is the brain, then the brain itself was formed inside the womb. How come brain, being a mass of flesh, is intelligent that way? Is material intelligent that way? Brain is basically a collection of matter. Is matter intelligent that way? Can matter have its own consciousness? Can matter have its own decision making? Now, if people argue saying that whatever we are experiencing, it is real. Whatever we have in the physical domain, it is real. When we consume a meal, when we taste a food, it is real. Yes, it is real. For the sense organs only, it is real. Now, the same tongue through which you are tasting food, let us say you have lost your taste because of the consumption of a lot of antibiotics or because of the consumption of enough drugs. Let us say in your tongue, there is no tasting ability. It is your own tongue. But at that time, the same tongue is unable to taste. Even if I offer you a very delicious sweet, you are unable to taste at that time. That means what you call as real is only a sensory experience in the awakened state. It is simply a physiochemical reaction. Now, the physiochemical reactions cannot be real because who is the experience of this physiochemical reaction? The experiencer is the self. The experienced is the physical, chemical, biological, material combinations. So whether the self exists or not, for which there is no evidence, because the self is neither physical nor psychological. The self is neither matter nor energy. The self is the cause for energy and for matter. That is why in the beginning of this presentation, I discussed a lot about the material combinations and the combination of energies with reference to the electromagnetic spectrum, and that was purposefully discussed so as to approach spirituality in the scientific angle. Later on, the same spirituality was approached with the religious angle. Whatever Moses told, whatever Jesus told, whatever Buddha told, whatever Zarathustra told, whatever Vedavyasa told, whatever Muhammad told, whatever Guru Nanak told, all that is true. Everything of the facts of spirituality need not be always having a scientific evidence. But in the modern age now, people ask for evidence for everything and anything. People ask, if God is there, what is the evidence? Now, evidence is that you are asking this question that if God is there, what is the evidence? Now, you yourself are existing. It is because of whom? How come you come into this existence? How come you experience your own body? How is it possible? How come a piece of flesh is conscious and intelligent? How come a joining of bones and nerves and blood flowing there, and with the skins covering at the outer side, with 5 sense organs working, with 5 motor organs working? And how is it possible? Can a human being have such designs or manufacturing, wherein just some cellular organisms will combine together and that will become a physical body inside a womb? Now, the absence of evidence is not the evidence for absence. There need not be evidence for the existence of God, because evidence is asked by whom? Evidence is asked by an ego. An ego requires its own satisfaction. For the satisfying of the ego asks all types of evidences. Now, unless you shed your ego, you cannot be self-realized. That is where in the yogic path we have 3 distinct branches: Jnana Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, Karma Yoga. Of course, you can know whatever you want to know about the self, about the spirituality, but you will have to shed your ego. That is where devotion is required. Bhakti is required. Not just knowledge. Devotion is required. Egolessness is required. And then involving in the spiritual practices is also required. Without having the practical aspects of spirituality, all that is theorizing will again remain Shabdajalam Maharanyam Chitta Brahmana Karanam, as Adi Shankara has told. So, those who keep on asking evidence about the existence of the self, they may never get the evidence, because they will never try for having such spiritual experience that is within. So, if that is their choice to remain in ignorance, then let them have that choice. After all, anything and everything in this life is a matter of personal choice. So, absence of evidence is not the evidence for absence. There need not be evidence for the existence of the self, because it is the self that is all-pervading, omniscient, omnipotent, omnipresent, almighty, divine, infinite, timeless. Because of that universal presence only, we have this existence. That is where, when Buddha said it is Shunya, Shankara said it is Purna. Much before Buddha also, in the Upanishad, even the sage had told that it is Purna. Maybe Buddha did not understand that there is a divine presence everywhere. Or maybe Buddha did not express. But all the Upanishads have expressed directly. Later on in a slide, I am going to show you that particular mantra which is present in the Ishavasya Upanishad. So let me repeat this sentence once again before proceeding. Absence of evidence is not the evidence for absence. Self is ever present. Self has no past, self has no future, because self has no time. So self is ever present. The ego is the false self. The soul is the true self. Now, ego asks for the evidence for the existence of the soul. But ego itself is temporary. Ego is present only in the awakened state and in the dreaming state. Ego itself is not existing in the sleeping state. Now that means, who caused the ego? How come ego was constructed? And how come ego is dissolved on a daily basis? That means there is some other presence which is beyond the ego. That some other presence is constructing the ego and dissolving the ego on a daily basis. And it is using the brain as one of its instruments. Now that is the soul. That is why absence of evidence is not the evidence for absence. Without the soul, how can ego exist? The ego thinks it is the self, but that is the false self. The soul is the true self. The soul does not think that it is the self. Because in the soul, there are no thoughts. There is no mind. Mind is caused by the self. Later on, body is caused by the self. By the energetic combinations and by the material combinations. Now, those who are egoistic, they keep on talking about me. Those who are trying to shed their ego, or those who are gradually trying to become egoless, they will have a different terminology. They'll use the term we. You could have observed that in most of the Indian traditions, the monks will not use the singular word I. They will always use the plural word we. Why? Because whenever they say I, that I is indicating the ego. We means it is all of us, not just a person. That is one meaning. There is one more meaning. If somebody keeps on using the word me and I, then that particular person is expressing only whatever is there in that person's memory as such. Again, ego is expressing whatever is stored in the memory. But when the monks or the sannyasis are using the word we, now there are two. One is the soul, one is the ego. It is told in the Upanishad, Dva Suparna Sayuja Sakhaya. There are two birds. Out of the two birds, one bird is eating the fruit and the other bird is simply witnessing. Now this analogy that is told in the Upanishad is actually referring to these two birds, the ego and the soul. The ego is eating the fruit of its own actions, where the soul is simply witnessing. The soul is the true self, the ego is the false self. Now there is always a tussle between these two. It is not actually a tussle. Ego tries to prove itself in many other ways. Until ego realizes its own true nature, ego will try to keep on expressing itself in many other ways. Let me show you a table here. The difference between me and we. Me is separation. We is unity. Me is blame. We is understanding. Me is hostility. We is friendliness. Me is resentment. We is forgiveness. Me is pride. We is love. Me is complaint. We is gratefulness. Me is jealousy. We is concern. Me is anger. We is happiness. Me is power. We is humility. Power here means ruling power. power over others. Me is materialism, we is spiritualism. Me is madness, we is wisdom. Me is war, we is peace. Me is coldness, no feelings towards others. We is sympathy. Me is either in the past or in the future. We is now, present. Me is intolerance, we is acceptance. Me is egoism, we is altruism. Please recall the sentence which my dear friend Dr. Ananda Balayogi Bhavanani had told earlier. I had shown that sentence earlier in the presentation, Healthy Head and Healthier Mind. In the illness, when I gets replaced with we, it is wellness. What a meaningful statement. That I should become we. Until then, I will keep on expressing itself. The bad news, nothing lasts forever. The good news, nothing lasts forever. It is the same sentence which can be seen in both the angles. Now the Janaka's bad news was that he was thinking he was a beggar. But the good news is that he is neither a beggar nor a king, because even a beggar does not last forever. Even a king does not last forever. Nobody lasts forever here. Whoever tries to conquer the earth in any which way, nobody will last here forever. History is the evidence for that. There have been so many ignorant people who have been trying to conquer the earth in their own ways, but nobody is lasting here forever. So that is the good news, that nothing is lasting forever. The same thing can be a bad news for the highly materialistic, egoistic people, that nothing is lasting forever. I am right now in between 50 and 60 years of age. This physical body has already crossed 54 years of age. I started seriously studying the spiritual scriptures at the age of 24. After I completed my material education or professional education, so to say, I started educating myself through spiritual means. And I have been fortunate that in the last 30 years, I have learnt a lot about myself. I have learnt a lot about God. I have learnt a lot about self. But how these 30 years went on, I really don't know. How these 54 years went on, I really don't know. It goes on. 54 years have passed for this physical body, and it will go on. Next year it will be 55, later on it will be 56, 57, 58. It goes on. Maybe 75 goes on, maybe 1 century goes on, if I remain healthy till then, physically. But the bad news, nothing lasts forever. The good news, nothing lasts forever. That nothing lasts forever. No thing. The self is not a thing. That self lasts forever. Otherwise, no thing lasts forever. Nothing, things will not last forever. Body is a thing. Mind is an energy. Body is a gross thing. Mind is a subtle thing. Nothing lasts forever. In whichever way you take it. For the egoistic people, it is a bad news. For the realized people, it is a good news. I have already told you the story of Alexander and Diogenes. Please recall that story. An atheist's view on life. Let us keep reading from top to bottom. I will live my life according to these beliefs. God does not exist. It is just foolish to think that there is a God with a cosmic plan, that an all-powerful God brings redemption and healing to the pain and suffering in the world is a comforting thought. However, it is only wishful thinking. People can do as they please without eternal consequences. The idea that I am deserving of hell because of sin is a lie meant to make me a slave to those in power. The more you have, the happier you will be. Our existence has no grand meaning or purpose. In a world with no God, there is freedom to be who I want to be. But with God, everything is fine. It is ridiculous to think I am lost and in need of saving. This is an atheist view on life. Now let us read from bottom to top. A theist view on life. I am lost and in need of saving. It is ridiculous to think everything is fine but with God. There is freedom to be who I want to be. In a world with no God, our existence has no grand meaning or purpose. The more you have, the happier you will be is a lie meant to make me a slave to those in power. Because of sin, I am deserving of hell. The idea that people can do as they please without eternal consequences is only wishful thinking. It is a comforting thought, however, that an all-powerful God brings redemption and healing to the pain and suffering in the world, that there is a God with a cosmic plan. It is just foolish to think God does not exist. I will live my life according to these beliefs. My dear friends, as I've been telling, it is always a matter of personal choice. But with knowledge, the choice is supposed to change. Of course, everyone will think that living in their own way is always a personal choice. People may also keep saying that Constitution has given them the rights to live as per their own freedom. But freedom, if it is mistaken as free will, there is a bigger constitution. There is a bigger natural law that is going to take care of taking care of all these imbalances or balancing all the things that are happening in nature or in life in its own way. So ultimately, it is a personal choice to live in any which way, whether to live like a theist or whether to live like an atheist. But for an atheist, there may not be any purpose as such, or there may not be any gratification of life as such. But for a theist, it is better that if the fish can live without having a knowledge of water, but if the fish gradually gains the knowledge of water, fish will have a gratification of life. Fish will have a fulfillment of life. And that is better for the fish itself. Otherwise, it does not make any difference to the water about whether fish will realize water or fish will not realize water. It is the choice of the fish to realize water or not to realize water. In the same way, it is the choice of the person to realize the self or not to realize the self. But if you realize the self, life is worth it. I'm almost coming to the end of this third set of slides. Infinity. A beautiful verse from the Ishavasya Upanishad explains the concept of infinity. Om Purnam Adaha Purnam Idam Purnat Purnam Udachyate Purnasya Purnam Adaya Purnam Eva Avashishyate Om Shantihi Shantihi Shantihi. That is whole and complete. This is whole and complete. From that whole, this whole came. If you remove that whole from this whole, what is left is still the whole remains. Infinity plus infinity equals infinity. Infinity minus infinity is also infinity. From a bowl of water, if you take out a drop of water, that drop of water is also complete on its own. It has all the properties of water. Now that bowl of water which was not having this particular drop of water, that is also complete and whole in its own way. Now if you put this drop of water back to that particular bowl of water, then also there is no change. When this drop of water merges with the bowl of water, that water which is in the bowl is also complete and whole. A river as such is a flowing water, and when the river merges into the ocean, it is again a steady water, still water. But there is no difference in the state of water, whether it is flowing as a river, whether it is standing inside a pond, or whether it is still in the ocean. Water remains water itself. Everywhere water is whole, water is complete. In the same way, the self is whole, the self is complete. Whether it is within the body or whether it is without the body. Purnam adaha purnam idam. Purnat purnam udachyate. Purnasya purnam adaya. Purnam eva avashishyate. Why three Shanti? They are called Adhibhautika, Adhidaivika, Adhyatmika, Shanti for three Tapa. Tapa means pain. From the word tapas only Tapa came into picture. Tapas, tapati means being under penance or living in pain for oneself, purposefully living in pain so as to bear the pain. That is called tapas. Now causing pain to others is called tapa. Tapati, tapayati. It is causal. So there can be three types of tapa. Adhibhautika, Adhidaivika, Adhyatmika. Adhibhautika means the other creatures, other living beings causing pain to us. Maybe mosquito is causing pain to us. Maybe a poisonous snake is causing pain to us. Other creatures. Maybe other human beings themselves are causing pain to us. That is called Adhibhautika Tapa. Adhidaivika Tapa means natural calamities are causing pain to us. Excessive rain or drought or hurricanes or volcanic eruptions or floods. These are causing us pain. That is called Adhidaivika Tapa. Means it is not under our control. Adhyatmika Tapa means we causing pains for ourselves. Purposefully causing pains to one's own body. Taking a knife and cutting one's own arm. Purposefully beating oneself. Maybe physically, maybe mentally. Remaining in grief. Remaining in frustration. Remaining in fear. These are all Adhyatmika Tapa. Adhibhautika Tapa means some other living creatures, including other human beings, they are causing pain to us. Adhidaivika Tapa means natural calamities are causing pain to us. Adhyatmika Tapa means the person himself or herself is causing pain to himself or herself because of wrong understanding of the self. Now, all these three tapa, these three causes of pain, let them be pacified. That is why here 3 times Shanti is told. Actually, this is the custom of telling 3 times Shanti whenever we chant any Vedic mantras or any such stotras. In fact, that has been the part of the Hindu culture, so to say. This is a great wish in the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. Om asatahama sadgamaya, tamasahama jyotihi gamaya, mrityohuma amrutangamaya. From the untruth, lead me to the truth. From the darkness, lead me to the light. From the death, lead me to immortality. Whatever has been untrue, let me understand the real truth. Whatever was illusory, transitory, let me understand the eternal. From the darkness, let me be led to the light. From the death, let me be led to the immortal state of the self. So, the sage in the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad is actually praying to the self only that please lead me from asat to sat, from tamas to jyoti, and from mrityu to amrita state, eternal state. This particular mantra has been a regular and normal prayer in the Hindu lifestyle, or so to say in the Vedic lifestyle. Finally, there is a bigger wish again in the scriptures, in the tantric scriptures. Om sarve bhavantu sukhinaha, sarve santu niramayaha, sarve bhadrani pashyantu, ma kaschid dukkha bhag bhavet. May all be happy, may all be healthy, may all experience prosperity in everything, may all be free from suffering. Now, such a great wish can happen only from the false ego or the false self to the true self when there's a realization. When that me turns into we, only then such mantra can come out or such wish can come out. That let all the creatures on this earth be happy, let all the creatures on this earth be healthy, and let all of them see prosperity in everything. Sarve bhadrani pashyantu, ma kaschid dukkha bhag bhavet. Let nobody be under pain, because only the ignorant ones are going to cause pain to themselves and to others. If people become knowledgeable about the self, there will not be pain as such in the human life. Actually, it is the mental pain which is more painful for most of the people than the physical pain. Because the physical pain is going to anyhow go away within a day or two. Let us say someone slapped you. The pain of the slap would not be there tomorrow. But the pain which is there in the memory that somebody slapped me, that is going to remain in your memory for decades together. And that is where I mentioned about Adhibhautika Tapa, where ignorant people will keep on causing pain to others. At the same time, there is Adhyatmika Tapa also. The same ignorant people are going to cause pain to themselves also. So look at this particular wish here. Sarve bhavantu sukhinaha, sarve santu niramayaha, sarve bhadrani pashyantu, ma kaschid dukkha bhag bhavet. Only when that me becomes we, such wish will come out of a saint's mind. Now, with that previous slide, I have completed the third set of my slides. So I'm almost coming to the end of my presentations, but the end will not happen so soon because I still have 2 more sets of slides. But from now on, I'll be going a little faster because I have covered almost all of the basics of spirituality. Now I'll proceed further. In the second set of my slides, I had spoken about what actually is yoga and what is not yoga. Now in the fourth set of slides, let us discuss or let us understand a little more about yoga. But in this set of slides, I will be going a little faster because it is just like a recapitulation of whatever we had discussed in the second set of slides. But before proceeding further, let me tell you one more small story. There was a great Pandit or a great scholar, and this Pandit or scholar had a desire that let him teach whatever he knows to the general public. So he decided that he has to go from place to place or village to village or town to town, and whoever is eager to listen to him, he has to tell whatever he knows about life to those people. That was his intention. So he decided to wander around. And when he started, he went to a particular village. In the middle of the village, there was a big banyan tree. And around that particular tree, there was a shelter. And villagers were moving around the banyan tree. Villagers were all busy with their own regular household or mundane works or tasks. Now this great scholar went and sat there in that particular shelter below the banyan tree, and he kept on calling people that come to me. I have come to tell you or to explain you about whatever I know about life, whatever I know about spirituality, whatever I know about birth and death, whatever I know about health. So please keep coming to me. Please come to me. He kept on yelling or he kept on calling. People were listening to him. Some people just laughed at him and went away. Some people murmured something and went away. And some people were curiously looking at him, but they were busy with their own tasks. So since morning till evening, he kept on calling people. Nobody came. But by evening, after the sunset, one cowherd boy came. And the cowherd boy told to the scholar that I have come to listen to you. You tell me whatever you want to tell. Now the scholar told, since morning I have been calling you, calling all the people, and it is now almost night, sunset has happened, so now you have come. Now the cowherd boy told, since morning I was busy, I was taking care of my cows, now anyhow sunset has happened, I have put all my cows into the cow shed and they are now safe there, and now I am free, that's how I have come. Now this person, the scholar, again told, I have been shouting and yelling at people, calling them to come to me. Only you have come to me. No one else has come. Now this cowherd boy told, if in my cow shed, if there are 100 cows, if one cow is hungry, I will not keep quiet. Even if one cow is hungry, I will feed the food to the cow. Now the scholar understood the message that this boy is hinting something else. Okay, so the scholar agreed. Okay, let me start telling you whatever I know. And the scholar went on talking about life, talking about birth and death, talking about health, talking about spirituality, talking about God. He went on and on and on. The cowherd boy was listening with lot of attention, with lot of concentration. And it went on till night 12 o'clock, till midnight. After about when midnight got passed, finally the scholar completed his speech, and then he told, now whatever I wanted to tell you, I have told you fully. What do you understand now? Now the boy told, if I have 100 cows in my cow shed, and if one cow is hungry, I will not feed the food of 100 cows to one cow. Now the scholar asked him, did it become too heavy for you? Then the cowherd boy told, since morning till evening, I was working, and in spite of my physical exhaustion, I came to you to listen to you. But you should teach me only in a way in which I can understand. You should not teach me in a way in which you have understood. You are at your level, but I am a cowherd boy. If you want to teach people, you have to come down to people's level. You should not stay at your level. And moreover, simply unnecessarily, you need not go to every place, every village, telling people that you want to teach them. When they are busy with their own affairs, when they don't want to learn, why should you waste your own time and energy in teaching them? If you want to teach me, you have to teach me in the way in which I can understand. Okay, but I am happy that I have understood a little bit from whatever you have told. But I am thankful to you, at least you have taken the effort to teach people. That way I should appreciate you. But tomorrow I cannot come to you once again. I am busy with my own affairs. Whatever I could learn a little from you, today's session itself is enough. Whatever I remember, that I will practice. And the cowherd boy went away. Now this is a great story about what to teach, what not to teach, how much to teach, how much not to teach, and whom to teach, whom not to teach. That is a very serious question. I hope I did not teach like that particular scholar. Of course, my sessions went on. That particular scholar had spoken only for some 6 hours, from sunset till midnight. But my sessions are going on. It will still go on for another 8 or 10 sessions. Because education is a continuous process. A little bit should not be learned, a little bit should not be taught. It is better that everything whatever can be learned should be learned, everything whatever can be taught should be taught. Otherwise, half knowledge is always dangerous and useless, both. So still, I keep remembering the story whenever I start teaching these holy things to people. Then gradually, I decide what type of audience I should have so as to discuss these things. That is why the sacred secret has been kept only at the end, not at the beginning. Those who are really hungry, they will only appreciate the quality of the food. Those who are really thirsty, they only will appreciate the quality of the fruit juice. Others may not. So at least some of you are putting effort to listen to me. That is enough. Let me continue with the 4th set of slides now. You are already seeing my credentials and you are already familiar with my credentials or my qualifications or whatever. But one point I want to stress upon or make it clear, that the title Yogacharya was given to me by the holy lineage of Dr. Swami Geetanandagiri's tradition. And this title I am not putting on my own. Otherwise, many times, even I have critics There are people who do not like me also. There are people who are jealous of me also. Now those people may keep thinking that I am putting a title for myself as Yogacharya. No, not that way. This title was used in the pamphlet of the International Day of Yoga celebration at Sri Balaji Vidyapitha, where my Param Guru's son, Dr. Ananda Balayogi Bhavnani, organized a particular function, and for that function, I was invited to deliver the inaugural speech or a keynote address or whatever, or opening talk or whatever. So that is when with this title I was referred. So I should again say that Dr. Anand Balayogi Bhavnani is the son of Meenakshi Devi Bhavnani. Meenakshi Devi Bhavnani is the wife of my Guru's Guru, Dr. Swami Geetananda Giri. So I am fortunate that I have been called as Yogacharya by the holy lineage. And I am not referring myself directly as Yogacharya. Okay, with this particular clarification, let me proceed to the next slide. If you keep doing whatever you have been doing, you will keep getting whatever you have been getting. Till now, whatever you have been doing, you know whatever you have been getting, right? So if you keep doing whatever you have been doing, you will keep getting whatever you have been getting. Remember the story of the cowherd boy. If that cowherd boy keeps on doing whatever he has been doing, he will keep on getting whatever he has been getting. Whatever he has been getting, he has been getting? He has been getting the material outputs of the cowshed. Maybe some cow dung, maybe a large amount of milk, and through the milk, large amount of butter or ghee or buttermilk, selling all those products of the cow and taking care of the cows. So lifelong he will remain a cowherd person only. A cowherd boy will become a cowherd man. Will his ignorance go away, or will his lifestyle change? If you keep doing whatever you have been doing, you will keep getting whatever you have been getting. Let us say till now you did not take care of your physical health, and you thought someday through some other medical remedy or through some medical help you will gain health. That is also a myth. As I have been telling you, consuming the medicines is not health. Non-consumption of the medicines is health. So if you keep taking pills, especially allopathic medicines, or if you keep going for regular health checkup, regular blood test, regular urine test, regular feces test, all types of tests, regular electrocardiogram, regular MRI scanning, in whatever way. Now if you keep having a checkup of your body, and if you keep thinking that by doing all that you will remain healthy, again that is a myth. Why? Because except for the human being, no other living creatures on this earth are going for a master health checkup. Neither they are going and visiting the medical shops or the medical doctors in a regular basis. Health needs to be maintained. Health is a normal lifestyle. So, if you did not take care of your body till now, let us say you did not involve yourself in any type of physical exercise, or if you did not involve yourself in any type of studies of your own self, now you are not going to change. You will remain the same way. If you keep doing whatever you have been doing, you will keep getting whatever you have been getting. If you are desiring to get something different, then you will have to do something different. That's all. There is no other alternative. If you really want to change your life, then you have to start doing something different that is going to have a change in your life. Again, that is your own choice. The next sentence which I am going to show is still more interesting. If you keep doing whatever others are doing, you will keep getting whatever others are getting. Because in general, everyone thinks others are right. Everyone thinks majority is right. Everyone thinks people are right. Now, if people are right, why people are unhappy? If others are right, why others are always causing troubles? Why always between country to country there are fights? Why always between language to language there are fights? Why there are fights in between two states just for the sake of a river? Right. Now, who is right? Wrong. Who is wrong? Others are wrong. In general, people will say that in life, first we have to make money. Education, through education only we have to make money. We have to go for that particular education which will give us more money. This is social programming or social poisoning in whichever way. And people will keep saying, when all others are doing, why are we not doing that? In fact, at the age of 24, when I took vow of that Bhagavad Gita Lekhana Yajna, when I took the vow of writing the Bhagavad Gita shloka, in the beginning, in that particular book, there were 10 orders. So those 10 orders, it was prescribed that before starting this Bhagavad Gita Lekhana Yajna, the person has to make a promise that the person is going to follow these 10 orders. One of those orders was not to take dowry. So I had made a decision at that time itself that when I get married, I should not get involved in taking dowry. I had taken the decision. But when my marriage time came, there was a problem. During my engineering education, we had an education loan, and the loan was still there, and the loan was supposed to be repaid. So there was an argument between me and my father that better to take dowry than clear the loan. But I had told that I don't want to take dowry. As far as clearing the loan is concerned, anyhow I am working. I will somehow manage to repay the loan, maybe in the next few years, by my own savings. And initially, even though my father agreed, later on, there were these arguments, and arguments gradually became a quarrel also after a few weeks or few months. At that time, my own mother told that when all others are taking dowry, why don't you take dowry? Then I could not tell anything to my mother, because what she thought was, whatever others are doing, we also have to do, because others are right. But when others are doing wrong things, how can we do those wrong things? How can I allow myself to live on somebody else's money? When God has given me a fit body and fit mind, I can work for my own livelihood. Why should I live on someone else's money for my livelihood? That was my logic. Okay. But my mother thought, when all others are doing the same, why don't we do the same? I am not blaming my mother here. I am not blaming my father also here. But they were carried away by the social conditioning or social psychology. If you keep doing whatever others are doing, you will keep getting whatever others are getting. All others regularly go to wine shops or bars and restaurants. All others keep on involving in many types of immoral, unethical activities, whether it is personal activities or whether it is team activities. Even today in the government offices, corruption is still there. Even today, even in the 21st century, untouchability is still there. There are many social differences. There are many inequalities. Even though we say all humans are one, how many of them really think that how many humans are one? Even today we have reservations for all types of jobs. What does it mean? That means basically people are selfish. And basically people are selfish when majority are selfish. If you keep doing whatever others are doing, you will keep getting whatever others are getting. Whatever others are doing, if it is for their selfishness, if you do the same, you also will remain selfish. Now, if you remain selfish, then you may not realize the self at all. So if you keep doing whatever you have been doing, you will keep getting whatever you have been getting. If you have to get something different, then you'll have to do something different. That is one part. Second part, if you keep doing whatever others are doing, you will keep getting whatever others are getting. So if you don't want to get whatever others are getting, then you should not do whatever others are doing. With this message, let me stop the session today. Today is Wednesday, tomorrow is Thursday. See you on Friday. Until then, take care and goodbye.